Hi, dear language learners. Here are my top three mistakes that I did when I studied languages the past 40 years, and that I don't want you to make on your way to fluency. There are so many pitfalls that you can fall into, especially at the kind of between beginners, intermediate stage, that would drive you against the wall, that would actually lead you to procrastination, that would make you feel like this language is so overwhelming that actually there are mindset hacks against that from social psychology. Bear with me for 10 minutes. I will share them with you and you will see again clearly. Hi, I'm Dr. Alex. I'm a social psychologist and I'm a polyglot. I speak four languages fluently and I studied languages in totally different ways some many years ago that actually made me reflect on the way in which we study language, and that made me crack the code of how you can use the basic laws of social psychology to study in a such in a much more joyful, in a much more sustainable and effective, fast way, that I decided to found this YouTube channel to actually share these hacks with you so that you can actually boost your confidence, that you can make the language learning process sustainable, and that you can speak finally with unshakable confidence in your next language. And if you haven't yet, please feel free to check out your copy of the Perfect Study Routine Planner on my website. It is linked in below. And use that as a tool to basically reorganize or organize your study routine in such a way that it is integrated into your everyday life. Now, and that is actually a nice introduction of what was my biggest mistake, number one. Number one was separating language study from my real life. I call this the isolation syndrome. I actually thought, and that especially happened with my first foreign language, which was English. I thought language is just done in that language course, and that was totally isolated from the rest of my life. And in my everyday life, there was no application of that. So it started to become that theoretical study. I mean, theoretical study is useful. It is good to reflect about things, but especially in language study, we need to always have a real life application. Otherwise, it actually stays in that theoretical box. And that is actually something that over the years, then becoming also a professional social psychologist, I realize it boosts your memory so much if you counter that effect. You need to integrate language study into your everyday life, meaning a language course is good, don't get me wrong, but you need to create a study routine that fits your everyday life patterns. So, saying, if you've watched my video on creating that ideal study routine, you will know what I mean. It's basically breaking up the different lessons you have or the sentences you learn into small chunks of hyper fragmented 5-minute blocks that fit your everyday life. So, for example, if you have a commute to do, if you are traveling, or if you have a small break in your daily routine, use that to repeat out loud your daily phrase. And that actually is a nice intro of the second mistake I did. I did not speak out loud at the very beginnings. I only started speaking out loud kind of when I was already intermediate, almost fluent in a B2 level, which is far too late. You need to start speaking out loud and having repetitions of speaking at the very early ages, and that will boost your fluency so much. So in that daily routine that you have, you might put some theoretical study, of course. You might put just having your sentence per day or looking up that grammar per day in 5 minutes, but you might also want to actually include at the very early stages repeating your sentence per day out loud, and at least 7 times. You need to have these repetitions. It's like playing an instrument. Without practicing the new instrument, so the new language that you will be speaking, your kind of sense of self, your self-awareness will not get used to how you sound and how you kind of feel, your way of being in the new language. And that is what the repetitions are about. And also, you need to develop your own kind of your own flow in that new language. It's not about that you sound like somebody else or that you sound like a native speaker. No, that's not the goal. The goal is that you develop your own version of playing that instrument, of being yourself in that new language. Because I have done a video as well about the social identity you develop. You actually develop a new social identity with the new language. And that is something you need to get used to. And for that, the repetitions are very, very useful. Now, now the third step actually, or the third mistake I did, and the step to counteract is to change also the order in terms of what you focus on. So what I focused on a lot, and that was my third biggest mistake in studying languages, was that I first of all focused in my priorities in getting the grammar right, of knowing exactly how the sentence will be formed, and kind of focusing on getting that right before I started to speak. And that order needs to be reversed. If your aim is to have fluency in conversations, if your aim is to have meaningful conversations with other people in the new language, the order needs to be first of all on speaking, expressing yourself, even if there are mistakes. Doesn't matter. You can invite always the other person to correct you, to say, okay, I'm studying this language. Please feel free to correct me. And I mean, you will see 80% of the population will be more than happy to help you, because most of the fluent speakers will be happy to actually pass on their knowledge in the language that they already know. And so you kind of need to change that order to focus first on speaking. And then, as a second or third priority, whenever you have a situation where you feel that sounded quite strange, or like this person corrected me, okay, how is that formed really? Then you go back to the grammar, you look it up and you say, oh, okay, why is that? And then you analyze it. And you will see your brain will then memorize the grammar rule much easier, because you have a reason to actually analyze the grammar, because you will remember that social situation that you had in the speaking, and that will make you want to kind of improve, and that will make you want to look up the grammar. So you actually studying the grammar with an intention, because you have a real lived experience in the new language, and that shifts completely the focus of your mind. I mean, that puts your brain into memory boost total. You will see you will become so much faster. So to change that order around, please check out also my study routine planner, because I've a chapter in there that actually helps you to focus first of all on what you want to do with the language. That needs to be, first of all, citing Simon Sinek's golden circle, first of all, always needs to be the why. The why is your driver. Like, why do you study the language? So you need to filter out those situations that you want to master in the new language. Then you kind of look at the what. So this is, what is the content? What are the sentences I want to use? And the how is the last step. That's the grammar. And only when you have practiced speaking it already, then you look up the grammar. So this order shift actually made me realize, oh my God, I become so much quicker, because I focus on social interaction. I focus on the social psychology of actually engaging with other people. And this is what language is a tool for. So if your aim is fluency, try this. Drop me a comment on how that works for you. What are your secret hacks to actually make your brain go into memory boost? And also, as always, see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.